Okay, so continuing on with linear equations, just a couple simple concepts, couple simple examples just to see that you remember what slope and y-intercept are. Okay, in the first example it says to find the slope and the y-intercept, and they give you equations in y equals mx plus b form. This is very important. If the equation is not in this form, y is equal to some number times x plus or minus some other number, then you have to put it in that form in order for this to work. But if it's already in this form, and notice all these are in that y equals mx plus b form, all you have to do is go back to the general form of this equation. From the previous slide, we said y is equal to mx plus b. M is slope, b is y-intercept. So m is the number that's with the x. So in this case, m is equal to 3. And b is what happens when you put 0 in for x. Notice when you put 0 in for x, it drops this whole term out, and you get y is equal to -5. So your b is at -5. Remember, this is the coordinate 0, -5. Okay, so you can say b equals -5, or you can just write the coordinate 0, -5, whichever you prefer, but just know that you can see it both ways. Take a second and try the next three on your own. See if you can identify m and b. Pause the video and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so looking at this, y equals mx plus b. So slope is 7/6. B is what happens when you put 0 in for x, so that goes away, and you've got -3/4. So b is -3/4. So even if it's a fraction, you can leave it like that. I'll tell you, for slope, you're better off leaving it as a fraction. We'll find that out later. For y-intercept, it might be better to change it to a decimal, because sometimes decimals are easier to see when you're estimating on the y-axis. That's just a little something extra. We'll talk about more about that later. All right. In number 3, the number with the x, that's m. So m is -2. If you put 0 in for x, that drops out, and you have y -1. So, or +1, so b is equal to 1. Final one here, y is equal to -1/2 x plus 2. Our m is the number that's with the x, so that's -1/2. And our b is what happens when we put 0 in for x, so that term drops out, and you get b is equal to 2. Okay? So they can give you an equation and ask for slope and y-intercept, or in the second example here, they'll give you the slope and y-intercept and tell you to write an equation. Okay? So that's our goal here, is to write an equation given the slope and the y-intercept. So in this case, what they're asking you for is, we have the y is equal to mx plus b. Remember, you can also call that f of x is equal to mx plus b if you'd like. What they're basically telling you to do here is to take m, put it in for m, take the number for b, put it in for b, and you're done. So our equation is going to be m is 1/9, so it's going to be 1/9 x. We take out the m, and we put the number for m in there. And then we're going to lift out that b, and we're going to put 4 in there. So plus 4. So the equation that satisfies that slope and that y-intercept is y is equal to 1/9 x plus 4. Take a second and see if you can come up with the second one. Pause the video, and I'll be back in a second to explain. Alright, so back. Remember, we want the y equals mx plus b equation. We're going to lift out the m and put the number they give us for m in. So in this case, y is equal to 4x. We're going to lift out the b, and we're going to put the number they give us for b in. So that's 1/9. So your equation here is y is equal to 4x plus 1/9. All right? If you have any questions, bring them to class.